Okay, so I am beyond exhausted. I just finished a show called Soul of the City. We've been rehearsing like 10 hours a day. We performed it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I realized I was an idiot to have accepted this. So I'm going to give you the last 10 minutes of my energy as much as I can. Then I'm going to take my books and leave with many apologies to the other poets. It was my intention to stay, but I don't want to pass out driving home. And I really am going to try and do right by you guys in terms of being here. So please forgive me for having to go. Yeah, yeah, my pleasure. So I got home this afternoon. I haven't been home in 2 weeks. I got home and I said, "Oh God, I got to put together 10 minutes." So I thought, what am I going to do? So I was thinking about being an ancestor in training and came up with a couple of poems of stories. This first one is a true story, the history of the Canary Island whistlers. They really existed, and although I'm doing it in poetry, all of this really happened. Their tongues were cut out. They learned how to sing in Spanish. Needing to show what would happen to enslaved ones who used language as weapon, as poultice, as plow, but afraid to kill those whose mouths held spells and danger, Spanish soldiers cut out their tongues and put those men adrift in a worn boat, confident that the Atlantic would open her gaping mouth and swallow these ominous souls. But decades after the leaky boat landed on Canary Island shores, if you walked across a mountain ridge of that rocky, tree filled island, you would hear those tongueless men whistling their sadness and joy in Spanish, shaping the air into foreign consonants and vowels, modulating alien tones into verbs and nouns, becoming a new species of blackbirds who would not be silenced and could not be killed. Okay. And another true story. Um, I am of Bahamian and Jamaican and East European heritage, and my Bahamian great 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 grandmother was stolen from Yoruba land, and this is called Yoruba Woman. My poem to her. One. I don't know if you would recognize me as yours if we met in my now, but I am glad to be this me, born in America, Carib, Irish, Slavic, Jew, born African woman that I be. That is not to say that I am glad you were stolen or celebrate the ways you were torn from your bloodline, stripped of your legacy, betrayed. I do not revel in the loneliness that kept your lips tight, your back hard, your heart scarred. But the me that is, that weaves these strands, that finds me here, that finds me free and headstrong, the loud mouthed me, wide hipped, frizzy hair, soft belly me, who has found a home inside this peanut skin, would not be here without your crossing. Two. They tell me you were mean. Sultry dark skin, fine boned hands that stirred the pot hung between three legs of the African stove you made the Irishmen build, so that you could cook outside under stars that spread across the sky and foreign constellations. They say you would stand near the Caribbean beach and stare at the sea, hold water under your tongue, your back to the ocean that would have led you home. I'm told you were cruel, silent, and strong, an Obeah woman before it held that name, bearing Ifa beneath the arching avocado tree. 3. One year, landing in England, I took the train to Liverpool, walked crowded streets to the harbor's mouth where tales are told of the ships they built, the cargo they carried, and deep underground I explored their newly crafted model of a slave ship hold that was cool and dry and did not smell. Did you see me lean against a post, my legs suddenly soft, my belly cramping, a howl caught in the back of my throat? As I saw the planks that served as beds and heard the cries and moans and waves crashing against walls, my eyes throbbing red as shadows writhed in chains. Did you hear me call out the name I didn't know? Hear me whisper my thanks to you for surviving, for keeping on, for bearing the child that would bear the child, that would father the child, that would father me? 4. Yoruba again runs strong in our line. My grandson carries it pure from his father through my daughter, circling back to you. We are bringing you home, great-grandmother twice removed. We are bowing our heads. We are holding you close. We are learning your name. Okay. So I have 2 more pieces. Let me remember this. This is from the show that I just did. Perhaps you wonder how hate was born. Some say that it's always been part of the air we breathe, but this is not so. The first ones wove the cord of our continuum, from them to the first mothers, to the first fathers, to the young babies, bubbling with the truth of our ancestors' teachings. One humanity with many hues, one people with many tongues, one planet with infinite fruits to be shared. But somehow that cord began to fray, and some began to let go, began to fear each other, began to fear those who crafted different ways, those who sang different notes, beat out dissimilar rhythms, savored other spices. They began to fear losing what they had, began to fear not having enough, and pushed aside others to get more, ever more. They forgot the lessons of sharing, betraying the truth of the one human family. They began to smelt hate on fear's blade, to thicken hate with fear's tar, to etch hate in fear's acid. They began to hate what they feared, who they feared, to shovel the sludge of hate around their fear, so they could not see fear, so they could not hear fear, as long as they kept the hate viscous, viral, and virulent. And this is where hate now flourishes, like blind white termites, eating away at supporting beams of humanity's shelters. All fear does not gestate hate, but all hate is born of fear. But if together we can learn again to sing one humanity with many hues, one people with many tongues, one planet with infinite fruits to be shared, hate will have little to feed upon. Okay. Tell you, when I was hired to be the mother in this play, they said, okay, we have 3 poems to write. One is How Hate Was Born. Well, no, a lot of stillness, a lot of thought, a lot of, could you tell me this? Oh, let me tell you something that I haven't got a poem for yet, but I will. So there are these people on the planet Earth whose name I have forgotten. In back of us is the future. We can't see it because it hasn't happened yet. In front of us is the past that we can see. And if we remember that, we move differently through time. The front of us is not unknown. If you look at it, then you can say, oh, let me take this turn, because that is not the right direction. Out of clay they caution, dust to dust they intone. From earth you came, and to earth you will return, they admonish. They remind us we are mortal and subject to death, yet insist on their eternals, demons and angels, paradise or purgatory, merely human with a finite number of days. but we have exploded as novas, burned through countless galaxies, explored far reaches of the Milky Way, ridden on the tail of comets, danced on the edge of asteroids, until in a dizzying frenzy and a passion we fell through the viscous ozone, past cooling clouds, to settle in the ooze that feeds the ocean's floor. It was there that we decided to grow limbs and tongue, all the while holding inside the truth of our origin: magnesium, copper, iron, calcium. We are the stuff that stars are made of. It's a scientific fact, a cosmic truth. In ignorance and in knowing, we hold grains of the divine inside ourselves. I thank you. And please forgive me for my exit, but you got what's left except what's driving me home. Thank you.